How many hours have you wasted on calls with people who just aren't the right fit? Or worse, calls where no one even shows up. It's frustrating, it's time consuming, and it makes you question your whole approach. In this video, I'm going to share exactly how you can create a pre-qualification survey that filters out all of this noise so that you only speak with serious prospects. Now, it's important to note that the more questions you add to this survey, the less people will come through, but the higher quality they will be. So play around with it depending on what type of people and quantity of people you are getting. As an example for this video, I'm going to create this survey for a business coach specializing in scaling businesses, making over $10,000 a month in revenue. Now, for this survey, we're going to be creating it in the following way. The very first thing that we're going to do is collect personal info, first name, last name, email, SMS number, all of these good things. Next up, we're going to ask them about their goals. After that, we're going to ask them about their challenges and also if they're able to invest. This one's very important because at the end of the day, although we want to help people out, we do not want to be hopping on calls with people who aren't able and ready to pay us money for it. After that, we're going to be asking them for any additional information to understand what else they want to get out of the call just before we ask them about the no-show policy. In this case, to decrease the no-show rate, we're going to make sure that we have a policy in there that people have to agree with to be able to book in a call with us. At which point, once they agree to it, they will be shown our calendar so they can pick a day and a time to then hop on a call with us. Now, to power this whole system, we are going to be using GoHighLevel. Now, if you don't have GoHighLevel already, make sure to head on into the description to get yourself onto HighLevel. But once you're in, what you're going to do is you're going to go into your sub account, into sites on the left-hand side, into surveys, builder, and here you'll see all of your surveys. In this case, what I'm going to do is create one from scratch. And so I'm going to press the add survey button and start a survey from scratch. Once I'm in here, the very first thing that I like to do is just name the survey. In this case, I'm just going to name it test survey. After that, I'm going to start with the personal information. In this case, what I want to do is first of all, drag across the first name, last name, email, and perhaps the phone number so that I have absolutely all the information that I require. I'm then just going to reorder this to make sure that everything that I want is in the correct order before I then move on to saving this survey so that my progress gets saved. Now, to make sure that you actually receive this information and that people don't skip it, you need to make sure that every single question that you want to make mandatory has this little asterisk next to it. And for you to do that, you're going to press the fields that don't have it. You're going to go onto their settings on the right-hand side, and you're going to tick the required box for all of them. Once you're happy with the collect info page, you're going to hit save and you're going to add a new page. Now, before we proceed any further, the reason that we have two pages, the first one being their personal info and the second one being where we're going to ask all of those other questions, is because what we want to do is we want to have this page where they fill out their personal information, and the second they hit next, we want HighLevel to save that information and to create a contact on partial submission. What that means is if this person goes through, fills out their personal information, but then does not fill out any of the other questions, even if they don't submit the whole survey, HighLevel will still capture this essential information that you can then use to reach back out to this person and get them to fill it in or to book in a call with you. So for you to turn this feature on, you're going to press the settings on the top right-hand corner. You're going to come into options, and the very first thing that you see will be create contact on partial submission. You're going to make sure that you turn that on and then hit save again to save your progress. Since we're on this page already, the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to decide what happens when people submit the survey, if they're disqualified immediately, and if they're disqualified after they submit the survey. If they submit and they do not get disqualified, as default, they're going to receive this message here, but you can very easily select Open URL, which is what you should do by pasting the URL to your calendar here so that they can move on to your calendar. If you're going to disqualify them immediately, meaning that the second that they select the wrong answer to one of your questions, they are not able to continue answering any other questions, what you're going to do is you're either going to leave it as default here where it's going to be this message, or you're going to send them again to another URL where you may have some sort of value that you provide so that people don't feel bad and so that people continue getting nurtured so that later down the line they come back to you to book in this call when they are ready. Lastly, for those people that you want to disqualify after they submit, maybe because you still want to capture their information because it's still good information to have on this person, then you're going to decide again whether you want this to be the default message to be used or if you want to send them to a URL. Once you're satisfied with everything, again, go ahead and make sure that you hit save. Now, going on to the very first question that we're going to ask, these are all going to be custom questions. As you can see on the left-hand side, there are no custom questions over here, but there are the options for different types of answers. And so what I'm going to do first is ask them, what is your primary business goal for the next 6 to 12 months? For me to be able to understand whether I'm going to qualify them or disqualify them, what I'm going to do is I'm going to select radio because it allows me to pre-select the answers that they're able to pick from, and I'm then able to choose what happens depending on what answer they select. Now, I'm going to go ahead and just fill this question in and the answers, and I'll be with you guys in just a second. All right, so I've just added the question and the answers. You can add the questions on the right-hand side by pressing the actual question, and you'll see the options for it opening up, and the label is what the actual question will be. And for the answers, as this is a radio select, you're going to go into options, and you'll see here, you can add as many as you want, and these answers will show up over here. Now, the very important part that we need to start looking at is how to pre-qualify and how to apply conditional logic. Now, in this case, this survey is being built as an example for a business coach working with people making over 10K a month in revenue. And so what I'm going to do is I'm only interested in working with people that are wanting to grow revenue by a specific amount. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to leave the first answer as select. I don't want anything to happen. And for all of the other ones, I'm going to disqualify immediately. Now, imagine you don't want to disqualify immediately people that select build a team or launch a new product. What you would select instead is, instead of disqualify immediately, you would disqualify after submitting, as this would still save their answers. You're then going to hit save and you're going to proceed to the very next question. In my case, what I'm going to do is ask them, what is your biggest challenge right now? For this, again, I am going to use radio. So what I need to do is find it on the left-hand side, drag it across, and now I just need to add the question here and the answers in here. And so I'll be with you guys again in a second. So I've just gone ahead and again added the question and added the answers. What I'm going to do again is select what I want to happen depending on what answer they select. Now I'm going to save you guys some time and I'm just going to go ahead and add every single one of these questions that I have, and I'll meet you guys once that's done so that we can continue by making these questions all required before submitting and making sure that everything is properly in place so that it disqualifies depending on the answers that they select, or allows them to go straight into the calendar. All right, guys, so I've just gone ahead and added every single one of these questions that I want to ask leads that come through to book in a call. Now what we have to do is go one by one and make sure that we turn on the ones that are absolutely required. In this case, the first three are absolutely essential, as they will be the ones that pre-qualify the leads. In the case of this mentor call over here, as this is conditional to whether they have or have not worked with a business coach or a mentor before, I'm going to leave this as not required. And lastly, I just need to make these two last ones required. Now, as you can see, some of these questions are text box. Some of these questions are just multiple choice. They're only able to select one of these, as I selected radio. If you want them to be able to select more than one option, then make sure that you select check box instead. Now, what you need to do last is just to make sure that you've selected the proper conditional formatting for every single one of these answers. I haven't in this case for these questions over here. So for this one, I would disqualify immediately, as I don't want to work with anyone making less than 10K a month. And I would allow these two different answers to go through to the next stage where they would select the answer for this question. Now, once you're happy with everything, You've added all the questions, you've added all of the conditional formatting, and everything's ready to go. Make sure that you hit save at the top right-hand corner. If not, you will lose all of your questions and all of your answers and all the progress that you've made the second that you hit back on the top left. And so now that you have the survey to pre-qualify your leads and increase your show-up rate, it's important to have a system powering the backend to further nurture these people and remind them of their call coming up. So make sure to watch this video here to watch me build that for you.